TGFF, thank God for football. Game day. 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 You have tuned in to another episode of Thank God for Football, brought to you by the Fanboys, powered by Greenville Sports Media.
Good morning and happy Friday again. We are back for the week 12 edition of Thank God for Football. I will get that right here shortly, but we appreciate you guys joining in. We are back for another really good slate of college football games. As you guys can see, we're going to be picking all 13 games again this week. I'm here with also my awesome friend and amazing Southern Conference wealth of knowledge, Mr. Jay Jacobs. He is back and better than ever for this week. So we are looking forward to another good week of amazing college football games this week, Jay. So we will try to get this thing kicked off for you, but just welcome everybody in, and we appreciate you. Welcome back to the show.
Appreciate it, Justin. Everybody, we look forward to week 12 in college football. And first of all, we want to thank our sponsor, Hyundai of Anderson. Use code HOA24, that's HOA24, to get a great deal and a special little prize when you go and you see Herschel and any of the people down at Hyundai of Anderson on 28 Bypass. And we want to thank them. We also want to thank Artisburg and Grill in Central South Carolina, Upstate Physical Therapy, and so many other sponsors, Pepsi Cola, you name it. They are all on board with us, and we appreciate everything they do for Greenville Sports Media.
Can't go wrong with Hyundai of Anderson. So you know that, Jay. They're going to be giving us a nice little promo for them coming up, but we appreciate them. Huge friend of the program. So,
are you looking for a great deal on a car? Look no further than Hyundai of Anderson. That's right, Hyundai of Anderson. Go by, see Herschel. He will treat you right. Tell him that GSM sent you. That's right, Greenville Sports Media. Tell him that Greenville Sports Media sent you, and you will get a great deal. I'm talking about one of the best deals you can ever get. That's Hyundai of Anderson. That is on Highway 28 Bypass, right at the corner of Clemson Boulevard. Go see everybody over at Hyundai of Anderson. I just bought my new truck, and I'll be showing it to you each and every week. That's right, I bought one myself, and you can't believe the great deals they got at Hyundai of Anderson. They are a part of the Greenville Sports Media Network now, and we appreciate them being one of our sponsors because they give the great deals. At Hyundai of Anderson, goodbye, see them today, tell Herschel, and tell all of them that Greenville Sports Media sent you, and they will give you not one, but two great special deals. That's right. We'll even throw in something. That's right. Greenville Sports Media is going to take care of you. Make sure you go to see Herschel today.
Wanted to give them a shout out, but the first thing we're going to be doing this week, Jay, is we're going to be heading out to our friends over in the American Conference. Our good friend over at SSN Army is going to be giving us the update from that amazing conference. They are going to be brought to you this week by redbubble.com. As well, if you use our code on their website, you can get up to 30% off. Check out Jay's gear already. He's rocking the TGFF gear. So make sure to check out redbubble.com and the Furman Joust collection for all of your TGFF game day needs. So we're going to let our friend over at the American Conference take it away for us and give us the update for this week.
Thank God for football. It's your boy, Cuthbert from Sidelines Army. I'm here to talk to you about this week in the American Athletic Conference. Right now, it's Thursday night. It's halftime. I got Tulsa, ECU, a little Thursday night football coming out of the American. I'm here to talk to you about what happened last week, what we're looking at this week. The season is heating up in the American, so let's get to getting. Last week, our game of the week, my Army Black Knights went to Denton, Texas, and put it on the North Texas Mean Green. The over-under in this game was in the low 60s. That was not at all the game we got. The story of the game was Army's defense absolutely shutting down Chandler Morris and DT Sheffield. Squeezed it out 20-3. An absolutely incredible game by the Army defense. North Texas knew from the get-go they were not going to be getting a lot of drives in this game. They only got the ball 6 times. On their first drive, they had to go for it on 4th down twice. That's not a winning formula when every drive you got to be going for it on fourth down. They did get a field goal on that first drive. They broke Army's crazy streak of however many minutes without, trailing, which, all good things must come to an end. But lo and behold, they turn around and try and do an onside kick immediately. Army, of course, recovers it. And then with a short field, they go 48 yards and they eat up 5.5 minutes of clock. This was an absolutely incredible game, start to finish. The Army defense, they forced a turnover on downs in the red zone from North Texas. They had 2 red zone interceptions late in the game, 20-3, an absolutely masterful game plan that was executed, but not without its mistakes. Bryson Daly threw his first interception of the year. Kanye Udo coughed the ball up. These are only the second and third turnovers that Army has had all year. So it was, by no means perfect execution, but the goal is to go 1-0, and Army did. They are in the driver's seat for the AAC championship game. They have a bye week this week, playing Notre Dame out of conference in 2 weeks at Yankee Stadium. And then they're going to be following it up with the Roadrunners of UTSA coming to Michie Stadium to close out the season the weekend of Thanksgiving. So, other games around the league. Looks like Navy is back in business after Blake Horvath injuring his thumb, really stumbling hard against Notre Dame, and then stumbling again against Rice the following week. They came back big. They beat USF 28-7. Horvath seems to be back 100% healthy. He's not putting up the video game numbers he was earlier in the season, but he put up 58 yards and a touchdown in the air and another 56 yards rushing and a touchdown on the ground. So did what he needed to do. Unfortunately, Byron Brown still not yet back for the USF Bulls. Bryce Archie did play well. This is now I think like the 4th or 5th game he's played. He put up 282 passing yards. He did unfortunately have 2 interceptions. It's hard when you get behind in that turnover differential to win the game. There are rumors though that this week Byron Brown is coming back for USF. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but that could have major implications on how the Bulls finish out their season. Elsewhere around the league, UConn beat UAB. A little bit of a heartbreak here for Trent Dilfer and the Dragons. They were up considerably in this game, up by 17 at one point, ended up losing 31-23. They gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter, 2 touchdowns in the span of about 20 seconds, and then one last close-the-door touchdown with about 2.5 minutes to go. Just a tough luck for UAB. Tulane mopped the floor with Temple, 52-6. Tulane, they were ranked this week number 25 in the college football playoff poll, one behind my Black Knights. They are still in the driver's seat as well for the conference championship. Tulane and Army are the only 2 teams right now undefeated in conference. So if they can both win out, they will be playing each other for the championship this year. ECU, they've switched quarterbacks. They went from Garcia to Michigan State transfer Caton Hauser. They seem to be delivering. They beat up on FAU 49-14. Hauser looks like he really knows what he's doing. I think if ECU had made this change in week 2 or week 3, they might be having a very different season. This is good news for the Pirates. They're playing on TV right now. They're playing a strong game against Tulsa. If I don't know what year he is, if he's sticking around, but if he is, I think that bodes well for ECU in the future. And then the last game of the week is Memphis. They beat Rice 27-20. I don't know what to think about this. Memphis, who comes in every year with all of these high hopes and all of these big expectations, they falter, they start to fall back, their fan base turns on them. Well, I don't want to say they turn on them. They really turn on the American Conference. I've never seen a fan base that hates the conference they're in as much as Memphis. I want to be like, guys, you got to be playing better in the conference before you can tell us that you are better than the conference. Rice is still playing good football. They obviously started very poorly this season, but they were able to beat Navy a few weeks ago. They put up 20 against Memphis. E.J. Warner absolutely balled out. Just wasn't enough to get it done. So, looking at the storylines of the week, it's really all about the the championship race and who's going where. Army is right now still in first place in the conference. They're 7-0 in conference. They got a bye this week. They only have one more conference game against UTSA. That's going to be a home game Thanksgiving weekend. That's to Army's advantage, but because it's over Thanksgiving, it means that the core cadets are not going to be there. How is that going to affect the stadium? We'll get to that in a couple weeks. Next, we have Tulane, 6-0 in the conference, also in the driver's seat. If they can win out, they will be in the championship. But this week, they have Navy. And Navy has one loss in the conference. Navy is the only other team that's really still alive. So this week, Tulane against Navy is my game of the week. And it's going to be a good game. Let's get into it. So Tulane is traveling to Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis. They're 6.5-point favorites, and statistically, they should have this game. They're averaging 41 points a game. They're only giving up about 20. They're doing it with a very balanced offense, 215 yards passing a game, about 230 yards rushing a game. But a stat that I think is maybe very undervalued is your time of possession. Tulane's averaging 34, just shy of 35 minutes time of possession every game. That is how you really make sure that you get your wins, is you control the pace of the game, you control the ball, you control the clock. Tulane seems to be doing it really, really well. Now, Navy, they're underdogs here, but they're playing at home. And it was announced today that Marine Corps Memorial Stadium is going to be sold out. Blake Horvath is healthy, and even though he's not putting up those numbers that we saw earlier in the season, he's got players all around him who seem to be stepping up. So are they going to be able to shock the world and beat Tulane? It's unclear. I will say this. Tulane's very, very good, but in the last month or so, they actually haven't had that many challenges. They had a close one against the University of North Texas, and that potent offense, Army was able to shut it down, but North Texas's offense, you can't discount it. But apart from that, Tulane has played Rice, Charlotte, and Temple. So the fact that they're blowing these teams out, it's very impressive, but it's not exactly like they're playing the class of the American Conference. So this is going to be a critical game for the championship, a critical game for the standings. This is, without question, our game of the week. Moving on from there, North Texas is going to play UTSA. I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch. North Texas coming off that Army loss. They've effectively been eliminated from the championship hunt. That's a heartbreak. But they got Chandler Morris and they got DT Sheffield. They still want to win games. And UTSA, Jeff Traylor, he's gone from melting down at press conferences to rolling off a couple of wins. They're on the rise now, okay? So UTSA is on the come up. If they can win this game, they might be able to get that momentum and be a spoiler in a couple of weeks when they go up to Mikey Stadium in West Point. We got FAU traveling to Temple. This is going to be some owl-on-owl crime. And given the fact that their combined records are 4-14, it might be a crime to watch this game. I do secretly root for Florida Atlantic. I think that their uniforms are icy, but I don't know. This is probably going to be in front of about 2,000 people, and I don't know. Might be fun to watch. We'll see. It is what it is. Now, USF is going to Charlotte. I've been very clear from the beginning. Biff Poggi is my spirit animal. I love that they got that little stadium. It's clean, it looks good, and they pack it out. It's always standing room only. The big question is, will Byram Brown be back this week for USF? If he is, I think that'll change the calculus of the game considerably. I think that's going to be a fun one to watch. And then the last game we have is UAB, who's playing at Memphis. Who's showing up for this? Is it going to be UAB, who put up, 50 points 2 weeks ago? Or is it going to be the UAB who choked and gave up 21 in the fourth to UConn? Who's showing up for Memphis? Is it going to be that team from early in the season that was shocked when they lost to Navy, who's got a potent offense, or is it going to be we squeeze one out against Rice because, we're not really in the mix anymore. There is one last game that's going to be played that Thanksgiving weekend. It's going to be Memphis against Tulane. These teams know each other really well. That is really going to be a game to watch in a couple of weeks where Memphis can play the spoiler. But look, I got to get out of here. The game's about to come back on. We got a great slate this week. I hope everybody's watching American G5 across the board. I mean, who wants to see power conferences? Let's get real here, guys, all right? So we got a bye week, but I'm going to say it anyway. Go Army, beat the bye week.
Welcome back into the show. We are back and better than ever. We appreciate our friends over there from the American Conference at SSN Army giving us their updates for this week. They, again, were brought to you by Redbubble. And go visit our site at redbubble.com and check out the Furman Joust collection. But I'm heading over to my good friend and co-host of the show. He is going to break down the entire Southern Conference for this week. And he is going to be brought to you this week by Arden's as well. We all know they're extremely good friends of the program. You can't go wrong with getting their food down there at Arden Central. So Jay Jacobs, the man that knows the Southern Conference like his own family member, take it away and give us the good news.
Hey everybody, this is Jay Jacobs here with the Southern Conference news and notes for this week. Last week, a bunch of surprises. Of course, nothing bigger than Western Carolina losing. And of course, Furman was not able to get the job done. And there were so many different things that happened. But let's go on to this week. This week, we start off at 12 o'clock, and that is with Furman driving up to East Tennessee State University, who was the one that took it to Western Carolina last week. I shouldn't say take it to. They was able to take advantage of a lot of things that happened to Western Carolina. But nonetheless, they still won the game. So Furman goes up with just a lot of emotion, a lot of young guys just trying to make it, and they go up to ETSU and unfortunately don't come out with the win. I'd love to see Furman win this game, but I think ETSU just has a little bit too much for them right now. Give me ETSU in a close one. I think it's going to be somewhere around 28 to 17. Then we go to VMI going up to Western Carolina. Western Carolina needs to bounce back at 1 o'clock at home. And I think it can do that in this game. VMI still struggling even after the win over Furman. I mean, they could surprise Western Carolina after what I saw last week, but I think Western Carolina has enough to get the job done this week, depending on a lot of their quarterback issues. We'll see what happens there. But even so, I still think Western Carolina gets out with the win. Samford goes to UT Chattanooga. This is an interesting game. Samford, you never know what team's going to show up. Same with UTC. Both these teams have been kind of confusing to figure out each and every week. 1 week they show like they're going to be they could be the leaders of the pack, and then the next week they just fall out of nowhere. So, but I think UTC being at home will have the advantage. Give me the UT Chattanooga Mocs in this game, getting the win. Next, we have Citadel going over to Wofford. That's right. The Citadel travels up to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and faces Wofford. Citadel, just like Samford, I mean, they've had an up and down year. They've gotten a couple wins, but they've also had some bad losses. And I think Wofford's just going to be a little too much for them. Wofford played a good game against Furman. Strong defense. Got to give it to them. So give me Wofford in this game with Citadel. And finally, the last game is a game that you got Mercer, who's our league leader, playing a non-conference game against number 10 ranked Alabama. I don't think Mercer has enough to go with these Clydesdales, but you know what? Stranger things have happened, but it's just not going to happen in Alabama. This is a 2 p.m. game. Give me Alabama this week over Mercer in the Southern Conference finale for the week. That game is at 2 p.m. Citadel at Wofford's at 1:30, along with Samford and UTC. 1 o'clock for Western Carolina VMI, and then 12 o'clock for ETSU and Furman. That has been your Southern Conference news and notes for TGFF Game Day. And we want to thank Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina for supporting us.
Hello, everybody. It's your old pal, Uncle Bobby. You love Arden's Burger and Grill because you know what? I got me a sampler platter. That's right. She made me a sampler platter of everything Uncle Bobby loves. Look at there. We got the s'mores French toast. Ooh, we got some wings. And we got the powdered burger. And you know what, Uncle Bobby? They love some wings, I'm telling you right now. You will not miss. I'll tell you, the double dip wings will make you double dip crazy. I'm telling you right now, it's the best thing you ever put in your mouth. Oh yeah, and French toast. Hey, they serve breakfast all day long. No. Uncle Bobby loves them for French toast. And folks, the Paladin Burger. Ooh, blueberry barbecue sauce, smoked Gouda cheese. Yum yum. Make sure you get down here to Arden's Burger and Grill Central. Uncle Bobby, I commend it, recommend it, everything that is amended. I do it here at Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. And don't forget, they're going to open a place called Beef and Ribbies. That's right, it's going to be so good it sticks to your ribbies and makes you do this all day long. I'm telling you right now, come to Arden's Burger and Grill. TGF Game Day, we're here.
That was our amazingly great co-host with all the great news from the Southern Conference. We are welcoming you guys back in. Thank you again so much to our good guy, Jay Jacobs, for giving us all the great news over there. And thanks again to Ardens as well for sponsoring his segment, as he always does a really good job of getting down there and getting some food from them as well. So you guys should check that out too. But next up, we're going to be heading out to our friends over at Dubby as well. They are going to be giving us a nice little introduction for our energy needs. That's where we go for our energy needs. So go ahead and take it away for Dubby Energy. We would love for you guys to check them out and give them a shot for all of your energy needs as
Our
well.
newest partner, Dubby energy drinks. You know, energy drink, you get the powder, you mix it up at home, but it's better than any of that coffee, any of that energy drink you get. There's no crash, no jitters, no angst. They have a patented neural factor. That's the star of the show. They got brain food. I'm talking taurine, tyrosine, glutamine, more. They only have the best amino acids. Only the best brain benefiting vitamins. I'm talking B3, B12, vitamin C, much more. I'm also talking 150 milligrams of caffeine, so just like your energy, it gives you that kick. There's no sugar, no maltodextrin, no fake colors, no dyes, no fillers, no BS. You can go to dubby.gg, dubby.gg. Make sure you use the code REALFRESH, 2 words, code REALFRESH. Get 10% off for your order.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks again for our amazing energy sponsors over there at Dubby Energy. Be sure to check them out. Give them a chance because they give us the energy that we need to provide you guys all this great information. Jay, next up, man, we're going to be heading over to our good friend Ralphie, though. He's going to be giving us the Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming Underdog pick of the week. So, Ralphie, we always enjoy your picks. Take it away. We appreciate you for joining the show and giving us your insight into the college football world.
Hello, everybody. It's your old pal Ruffy, and this week's underdog pick is Utah over Colorado. That's right. Sitting Pretty Dog pick is gonna be Utah over Colorado. Is my underdog pick of the week.
And Jay, welcome back in. Ralphie never ceases to amaze us with his amazing picks of the week. They are always brought to you by our good friends over at Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming. For all of your dog grooming needs, hit up the Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming crew, and they will make sure to take amazingly great care of your pets just like they do for ours. So, Jay, we are hitting up our good friends, though, at the Big Ten this week. They're going to be brought to us by Cowboy Revolution as well. So they are going to be letting us know about what's going on in the Big Ten this week. Use our code FIRMANDJOUST to get your 15% off. But we're going to let our good friends over at the Big Ten take it away for us and give us the good news from the Big Ten.
Hey everybody, it's Jay here with the Big Ten news and notes for this week. Let's go straight to it as we got 6 big matchups in the Big Ten this week. Actually 7 if you count Friday night, which is probably going to be already played by the time you see this. But we'll go ahead and do that one. UCLA versus Washington. At Washington, I think Washington gets the win in this game. I think UCLA's getting better, but I think Washington's going to take this game and do it convincingly, at least by double digits. Ohio State then on Saturday is the first game, and they'll be taking on Northwestern. Ohio State's just going to be way too much for Northwestern, but Northwestern does put up a good fight, but they will lose by double digits themselves. All right, then we go to Michigan State versus Illinois. This is a game that a lot of people probably would have thought Michigan State would just roll, but Illinois has been a better team this year. Give me Illinois over Michigan State. Then we have Penn State will be going over to Purdue. Purdue's been just a team in turmoil, in my opinion. I think they could have been a lot better this year, but they just haven't been able to play it. Penn State's playing better. Tell you what, give me the upset. Purdue upsets Penn State at Purdue this year. All right, then we got Nebraska taking on USC, a game that a lot of people thought would never happen, but it's happening. Nebraska goes into USC, and I think they come away with the win. I think they defeat the Trojans, and the Trojans just still continue down that path of just mediocrity. Then we have Rutgers going to Maryland. A game that I think is going to be a real good game, believe it or not. Neither one of them are ranked, but I think both of them have the possibility of being a better team in the Big Ten going forward. Give me Rutgers in this game over Maryland. And then our final game of the night is Oregon, number 1 Oregon going to Wisconsin. Wisconsin still is trying to find itself. I think that they're just not going to have it for the number 1 ranked Ducks. Oregon rolls in this game by double digits, even though it's at Wisconsin. Give me Oregon in this game. This has been your Big Ten for this week. This is Jason.
Man, that was some good information for our friends over there at the Big Ten for this week. Lots of great games going on, and we're going to be talking about some of those a little bit later on in the show, Jay. But next up, we're going to be hitting up our good friends over at the Coach's Box, as well as they're going to be telling us all the great news from the SEC. Tons of amazingly good games there in this conference. This conference getting a little bit crazy, but we would encourage you guys to check out all of our good sponsors for that segment is at truevictory.com. You can use our code FurmanJoust. Jay is rocking out the amazingly great gear that they already show you each and every week. Get your gear there at truevictory.com. It's veteran owned as well, so you can't go wrong with supporting a veteran owned business. We appreciate all of their insight as well, but the Coach's Box is going to give us the insight from the SEC this week, so take it away for the Coach's Box.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another week of SEC football here with the Coach's Box, Call It Like We See It podcast. I am Coach Halley. I am here representing the Coach's Box, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about week 11 of the SEC football. We have 8 games on the slate today. 4 of them are get healthy games for some of them versus Our Lady's Sister of the Poor, or whatever school you want to call that at that point. And then there's 4 conference matchups, 1 really big marquee matchup. And we're going to quickly go through each of them and just tell you what we see out of these games and what we think of them. First game matching up is Texas A&M is hosting New Mexico State. This one's going to be a very quick prediction. This is going to be Texas A&M all day and all night long. Texas A&M is a 40-point favorite in this game, and it's just that simple. Texas A&M is much too good for New Mexico State, coming in at 2-7 against the Texas A&M 7-2. We're going to skip over, move on. Texas A&M all day and night, and then twice again on Sunday in that game. Next one is Auburn hosting Louisiana Monroe. Now, Louisiana Monroe has a better record in this game. They're 5-4. Auburn is only 3-6, but this is the week that Auburn can try to get healthy on somebody. Auburn is a 25-point favorite in this game. It's going to be Auburn all day, all night, and again, twice on Sunday at Jordan-Hare. That should be an easy one. Kentucky is hosting Murray State. I don't have a line on this one. I didn't find one anywhere, but I don't expect this to be much different. Murray State has a 50-0 loss to Mizzou this year. Kentucky is an SEC school. This is Kentucky winning big again at home. Moving on twice on Sunday as well. And the last get healthy game of the week is another one that doesn't have a line because I don't think they have enough digits to make Alabama as big a favorite, is Mercer going to Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Again, this is going to be a massive blowout for the Crimson Tide. Jalen Milrose probably shouldn't even play in the second, third, and fourth quarters in this game. So let them get healthy, do what they need to do, and move on to next week. Now, for the 4 SEC matchups. First up, we're going to talk about LSU going to Florida, going to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium LSU is a 4-point favorite on the road, and they're coming off. Florida's coming off a massive loss to the Crimson Tide. I know it was 42-13, but it looked like it was way worse than that. Florida looked inept for the better part of that game and scored, I think, had couple of late scores in that one. No, I take that back. I got that wrong. That score was 49-17 to the Texas Longhorns. I got my weeks messed up. I'm sorry. The Tigers lost to Alabama 42-13. I'm sorry. So both of them coming off massive losses. I do think LSU looked better against Alabama than Florida did against Texas. I expect to see LSU and Garrett Nussmeier go through and get the win at Florida. I don't see how Florida can continue down this path, keeping their coach through next year. They don't look very good, and they may not be bowl, and they may not get to bowl eligibility this year. So I expect the 4-5 Florida Gators to fall to 4-6, and the number 21 LSU Tigers to move to 7-3 on the season. So LSU gets that win. Next, we have the Governor's Cup. This is the Tigers of Columbia, Missouri, traveling to Columbia, South Carolina for that game. South Carolina is a 2-touchdown favorite, and for good reason. South Carolina probably is the hottest team in the SEC right now. They're playing the best football right now. They have a very good defense, ranked 12th in scoring defense in the country. They do just enough on offense to get them wins, and they've looked really good the last couple of weeks, taking care of business to get themselves to 6-3. They're ranked number 23, one spot ahead of number 24, Missouri, who barely scraped by against a bad Oklahoma team. Offense looked completely inept for the better part of 55 minutes, but the defense looked really good. So you've got the number 16 scoring defense in Missouri going up against the number 12 scoring defense against South Carolina. This is going to be a defensive battle, and which offense is going to be a little bit better. My heart still stays with the Missouri Tigers. I can't pick against them. I don't care what Coach Miller says, whether he thinks they're dead or not. I'm a Missouri Tigers fan, and I am not in my own right consciousness not pick the Tigers here. So Tigers continue. It'll be really close, though, really close. But the Tigers pick up the Governor's Cup trophy in that one. The Tigers will move to 8-2, a very surprising 8-2. Gamecocks will drop to 6-4 on that one. Texas is going to Arkansas, to Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville. The Razorbacks are coming off a big 30-point loss to Ole Miss, but a lot of teams have lost Ole Miss that bad. And Texas is coming off a big win where they looked really good against Florida. So as of right now, Texas is a 12-point favorite. I do think that Texas's offense, is really much better than the Arkansas defense, but I think it's going to be a win, but I think it's going to be less than 12 points. I say anywhere in the 8 to 10 range, 28-20, something like that. Texas gets the win behind their offense, and the Razorbacks doing just enough offensively to stay in it, but not enough to get the win today. And lastly, our marquee matchup is going to be number 7 Tennessee going to Sanford Stadium to play on the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's coming off a loss where they didn't look very good to Ole Miss, and the Tennessee beat a pretty bad Mississippi State team by 20 points as well. So is this the opportunity that Tennessee gets to basically kind of just put Georgia out of their misery and completely get them out of playoff contention with their third loss on the season? This is going to be a tough one to me from a call. Right now, Georgia is a 10-point favorite. Being at Georgia kind of gives them the edge. And I wonder if an angry Georgia is just too much to deal with for Tennessee, who struggles defensively at times. But I'm looking and I'm going to pick Georgia in this one to not cover the spread. I'm saying last second field goal wins this one for Georgia at home and they move on and keep their playoff hopes alive. They're with 2 losses, their playoff hopes alive. So that's what I'm looking for. So, like I said, just to run through these really quick once again, we're going to go the 4 SEC schools in the Get Healthy game. That's Auburn, Kentucky, Alabama, and Texas A&M. And then I'm picking Texas over Arkansas. I'm picking LSU over Florida. I'm picking the Missouri Tigers over South Carolina, and I'm picking Georgia in a last-second field goal over Tennessee. Those are my picks for the week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Like, again, if you haven't checked us out, check out the Coach's Box, Call It Like We See It podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and the X. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all those things. Check us out. We'll see you next week.
And we're back, and we want to thank the Coach's Box and giving us all the great information about the SEC. And now we head over to the Big 12. That's right, our guy Joe over there doing the Big 12 for us, brought to you by Pepsi Cola. Nothing's better than an ice cold Pepsi. Let's go to Joe and the Big 12 and all the great news and notes for this week.
Week 12 of the Big 12 season. Week 12, Big 12. It rolls off the tongue. It is meant to be. And folks, I got to apologize for missing last week. I had kind of an emergency surgery on some teeth stuff we had going on, but I'm back. I'm good now. We're squared off. Everything's good in my life. We're good to go. I'm going to try not to miss any more episodes. That was kind of the one-off for this season, so I apologize up front about that. That being said, we have an awesome week of Big 12 football with 3 weeks to go before Arlington. Things are starting to shape up in the Big 12 title race. That being said, it's still the Big 12 where anyone can win on any given week. And as it goes down the stretch, you have like 5 teams that are 7-2 overall and like 4-2 in conference play. You got Kansas State, you got Arizona State, 2 teams that take on each other this week, and you got Iowa State, a couple other teams fighting for that knock of who's going to get to Arlington, because Colorado needs 1 loss. Will they get there? We'll see what happens. It's currently BYU undefeated, a heck of a football season, and Colorado's sitting at 5-1, the lone loss being to Kansas State, so you need them to at least lose 1. This isn't going to be the week, folks. I'm not even going to touch that line. It's Utah plus 11 at Colorado. Colorado's going to beat Utah. Utah's bad. They got nobody playing at any position. This has been such a wild adjustment season for Utah football as a whole. That being said, I have 3 games I want to talk about. The first one being with my Wildcats. It's a massive game, probably the game of the week in the Big 12 slate this week. 16th ranked Kansas State hosting Arizona State. Both teams are 4-2 in conference play. This game is in Manhattan, Kansas at 6 p.m. It is a college football playoff eliminator. Obviously, there's ways where you could still sneak into the playoff. You could figure it out. But if you lose 3 conference games, you are not getting into the playoff, at least out of the Big 12. I don't see the loser of this game doing much down the season. That being said, I think both are great football teams, bowl eligible already. They're going to be special, and this game is going to be a good one to watch, folks. But the games I want to talk about, BYU and Kansas. Please do not sleep on the Jayhawks. I'm going to do the exact opposite of that here in a minute, but what I'm going to say, I think KU plays the biggest sleeper card down the stretch of the Big 12 Arlington race. I think they have the opportunity to shake up literally everything because I think they're the one team left on Colorado's schedule that could beat them. It's at Arrowhead Stadium, and I think KU next week has a good shot at that. That being said, this week they're playing undefeated BYU in Provo. The game is listed in favor of BYU by less than a field goal, -2.5. I'm not doing all that. Give me the Cougars -2.5. I'm taking that. I know KU's getting better. I think they're going to win outside of this game. I would take BYU to win this game. I think they're a good football team, but BYU's undefeated. They're the best team in the Big 12 as of right now. I think it could be different if certain teams get to Arlington, but I think I'll go with BYU -2.5. The second game I want to touch on, Iowa State has been on a straight nosedive the last couple of weeks. Lost to Kansas. I was just talking about KU. Lost the week before. There's a lot of things down the stretch where Iowa State does not look like that 7-0 team they started at, largely in part due to the fact they did not play anybody good the first 7 weeks. That being said, I will take Cincinnati plus 7.5. That's a big line. Cincinnati's a decent football team. They've got a star quarterback in the making. I know this game's in Ames. I know nobody wins at Ames. I'm not saying they're going to win, but 7.5 points is too much to cover for an offense that is as stagnant as Iowa State's has right now and a defense that is as injured and banged up as they are. I will take Cincinnati plus 7.5. The third pick of the week. Arizona is favored by 1.5 against Houston. This game is at Arizona. I don't think there's anything good going on at Arizona. I know T-Mac is a top 10 pick, a top 5 pick, will you? I know Noah Fafita is a star. I will take the Houston Cougars plus 1.5. They just beat my Kansas State Wildcats. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it killed. I will take Houston. I think they're on to something. Zion Chris is playing the best football of the season for himself. I will take Houston to get the job done. Those are my 3 picks. Houston plus 1.5, BYU -2.5, and Cincinnati plus 7.5. 2 underdogs and 1 favorite for this week. And I'll be back next week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Well, there you go. All the great information about the Big 12 this week. Appreciate Joe over there. And of course, we always think ice cold Pepsi. That's right. An ice cold Pepsi is the best thing to have. Make sure to go out and get ice cold Pepsi for your tailgate needs. Now let's go into NFM Lending's own Justin Grice with the ACC this week. Justin, tell us a little bit about what's going to happen in the ACC.
Well, Jay, every week it's something different. It wouldn't be a week without somebody getting upset, somebody losing. I love that you're rocking the Clemson hat this week. You guys totally proved me wrong last week as y'all went to Blacksburg and got the job done there. So good for the Tigers to maintain their swag and their confidence heading to the last few weeks. It's crazy, Jay, that we're talking about it now, but last few weeks of the season. But yeah, we're going to give you guys a little bit of update from last week. Last Friday, the Cal Bears magically got their first win on the road against Wake Forest. They were able to take down the Demon Deacons in Winston 46-26. They are now 1-4. Wake moved to 2-3, so they had a chance to kind of put themselves in a good position for a bowl game. They are still searching for a bowl game, but those two teams are now they're still in contention. They got a couple weeks, but Cal has now got their fifth win, so they're heading towards bowl eligibility as well. And then the big one that just nobody kind of saw coming. I mean, everybody thought that Miami was the juggernaut, but they went down to Atlanta and the Jackets stung them. So the Hurricanes took their first loss of the season. They're now 9-1 and 5-1 in the ACC. Georgia Tech moved to 4-3 in the conference. They are now bowl eligible as well at 6-4. So congratulations to the Jackets on getting that job and a huge upset down there in Atlanta. They're going to be off this upcoming week as they're going to be hosting NC State on a Thursday night game next week. So both of those teams should be coming off of some extended rest. But the train that continues to roll off the tracks, J2, is this team down in Tallahassee, and Notre Dame just absolutely put it on the Knolls again this week. Notre Dame is steamrolling towards a possible playoff spot. Florida State coming off what was a fantastic season. They are now 1-9 and facing their last two games going to be Charleston Southern and Florida. So it's going to be interesting to see if Florida State can go from being 13-0 to 1-11. So it would be the first time in college football history that happened. But the Knolls are now 1-9 again, just cannot get themselves going. Another thing that shocked me last week, and the next one was going to be the Virginia Cavaliers getting the job done on the road against the Pitt Panthers. Pitt was a very quiet ACC contender. And then these last 2 weeks happened where SMU and Virginia just kind of exposed a little bit of Pitt's offense. So the Cavs got it done. They moved to 3-3 in the ACC. They're now 5-4 heading towards bowl eligibility. So Tony Elliott kind of getting things turned around in that one. And then the big one for our friend Jay over there for the Clemson Tigers, they continued their train towards Charlotte as well as they took a victory against the Virginia Tech Hokies 24-14. They went to 6-1, and they're now in strong contention for Charlotte as well. So the next two and the last two where Boston College got the upset, if you want to call it that, but Boston College got a nice win at home against Syracuse 37-31. They now also get their fifth win of the season, moving towards bowl eligibility as well. And then the final game of the night on the ACC network was the Duke Blue Devils taking on the NC State Wolfpack in Raleigh, and Duke got it done as well. Second year in a row that the Blue Devils were able to take down my NC State Wolfpack, and 29-19 was the final though. So both teams are really still heading towards the middle of the pack. Duke's now 3-3, NC State 2-4, but Duke is now officially bowl eligible. They got their eligibility last week, and now they got 7 wins. So congrats to Manny Diaz and their crew in his first year for getting them back on track as well. But this week is another lighter slate this week for the ACC, but still some really good games on the slate. Pitt's going to be taking on the Clemson Tigers as Jay's rocking it out. Another great game. Pitt still on a slide. Clemson is rolling down, so they get their win this week. They'll be 7-1. I'm predicting they'll get that win there at Pitt. And then California is going to be hosting the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse is just on a really bad downward trend right now, and Cal just has won a first game for them, but I've lost a ton of close ones, so I expect another close one there as well. And then Notre Dame is going to be hosting Virginia at 3:30 in South Bend, so look forward to seeing if Virginia can continue their roll towards bowl eligibility. And then SMU takes on Boston College at 3:30 on ESPN in Dallas. SMU is now long at the top with them at 5-0 in the conference. So this is their first year in the ACC, which has kind of been a big trend for this year for some teams in their new conferences getting on the road. So we'll see if they can continue to mark their way in the new conference and see if they can make it to Charlotte. Stanford is going to be hosting Louisville this week. Louisville jumped up in the rankings this week because they were off. They got their fourth win 2 weeks ago, but they're now going to be taking on Stanford. I expect them to get the job done as well. And then in the ACC's featured night game, which we will talk a little bit about later on in the show, we've got North Carolina and Wake Forest. North Carolina's defense still playing better. Wake Forest coming off the loss as well. So looking forward to another great slate of fantastic football again this week, Jay. So looking forward to it. And once again, we were, if for all your mortgage needs, go to www.nfmlending.com/Jay Grice. So that's it for us this week from the ACC, Jay.
All right, Justin, appreciate all your great news and information with the ACC. If all y'all can go see Justin on GreebleSportsMedia.com or awholepackofwolves.com, get his up-to-date NC State information there, and also any ACC information. So we appreciate Justin and NFM Lending for what they do for TGFF Game Day. Now let's go to our guy over in the Sunbelt, John Byer, of course, does a great job for us with the Sunbelt. He is brought to you by CatchThisSports.com. See Aries Curry, that's right, Aries Curry, former NFL wide receiver and Clemson wide receiver. He is our CatchThisSports.com representative. See him, and he can help you with all your college athlete or high school athlete needs. It doesn't matter, college, pro athlete, it doesn't matter. He can help you in no matter what sport, female or male, he can do it for you. That's CatchThisSports.com. Let's go to John Byer with our Sunbelt news and notes.
Welcome to the Saturday morning show. I know this looks a little bit different. We're not in the studio today. That's because we're on the road heading to Huntington, West Virginia to see Coastal Carolina take on Marshall University, the Thundering Herd, at Huntington this weekend. We're excited about it. Haven't been to a Marshall game for a few years, and that wasn't against Coastal. That was against West Virginia. So it's been a while, and we're excited about going. We also have family up in West Virginia, and we'll be traveling up to see them and taking them down to the game with us. The show's going to be a little short this week because, again, I'm on the road. But I wanted to remind everybody that I'm going to be doing a live broadcast from the stadium, pregame, halftime, and postgame follow-up after the game's over with in Huntington. We're also going to let you know about a couple of things in the SBC this week and things to look forward to for Coastal as they kind of wind down their season here. We're still playing for a spot in the playoff in the, of course, the Eastern Conference side. There is a possibility that we could win a tiebreaker if we have some things happen for us that we could represent the East. So we're going to try our best to continue to do things the right way. And hopefully, as Coach Beck says, you know, we're just going to try to get better and better each week, try to figure out things that we need to figure out to be more productive. And in his midweek show, that's what he expressed. He expressed that in Tuesday night's coaches show from Shanti's in downtown Conway. And we look forward to that each week as Coach Beck brings us more information about the Coastal Carolina football team. The game is going to be televised. It's going to be on ESPN. The game will be streamed on ESPN.com as well if you want to watch it on the internet. But it will be an ESPN Plus game, and it will feature Coastal Carolina versus Marshall. Kickoff time is 1 p.m. Again, that's 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're not able to catch it on TV, you can also listen to WRNN. That's Chanticleer Sports Radio Network on WRRNN. That's 95.5 FM. Again, that's 95.5 FM, and you can listen in on the flagship radio station for the game as well. Coastal's going to come into this game at 5-4 with a 1-game winning streak over their arch rival, Appalachian State. They came in here last weekend. Coastal started off fast, and I think that's important for them to be able to do that against Marshall. Marshall has an outstanding offensive capability. They have one of the best rushing teams in the nation, and that's been kind of our Achilles. We've had a difficult time dealing with the run game so far this year. So I hope our defense has sharpened up their pencil this week and gotten out there and practice and gotten ready to play against a team that can put the ball up as well as being able to run. They did bench a starter quarterback. I believe that was Chad Pennington's little brother. And he is on the bench now, and they've got a new starter in there, and he's got him on a win streak. So Marshall's 6-3, 4-1 overall in the SBC East, and they're a tough team. I'm telling you, it's going to be a tough ball game. We're also going to be playing Marshall on a sad note, but they are good, and they are good about being a team that's resilient. They lost their whole squad in an airplane crash, and they played the game that we're playing them this weekend on their schedule every year, and that's called their 75 game. And that's a tribute to the 75 players and coaches and staff that were killed in a tragic accident for Marshall's football team. It was basically a complete devastation to the university, to the community, and of course to the players' families and the coaches' families. That happened on November the 14th, 1970. They were on their way back from East Carolina University after suffering a 17-14 loss, and it became the deadliest sports-related accident tragedy in history as the plane crashed on approach into Huntington and all aboard perished. So we're going into a game with them that they don't like to lose. This is one game that they schedule on this date every year, no matter who they're playing, that they're going to come out proud, determined, and ready to go. And we know that they will do that. They're going to present a lot of obstacles for us on Saturday, but we've just got to dig down, toughen up, and get ready to play. And I think we'll be able to. We've got Marshall has been a team that we've been able to contend with since they came into the SBC, and we have a complete win streak against them. And they came down here to play us 2 years ago. We defeated them there. We defeated them up in Marshall last year. Excuse me, I've got that backwards. We beat them here in Conway last year, and now we're going back up there after playing our first game against them up there and winning as well. I hope that didn't sound too confusing, but to put it plain and simple, they have not beat us, and we'd like to keep that streak alive and come back home with a victory and some more momentum and try to wrap this season up on a winning note. So good luck to the Shots. Good luck to us driving up to West Virginia. Hopefully we get to see a few of the leaves that haven't changed on the trees yet. But most importantly, we hope we see a bunch of Chanticleer fans traveling up to Huntington along the roadway with us, including the guys that are doing the call on the game. We hope that if they're flying, they have a safe flight, and we wish the team the best. I wanted to just do one little pick this week for and a quick follow-up for my pick of the week in the SBC this week. This week I'm going with Georgia Southern against the Troy Trojans. And I'm picking Georgia Southern not only because they've been dominant so far in the Eastern Conference, but this has probably been one of the worst years in Troy history football for win-loss purposes. Their poor guys are 2-7. They haven't done too well this year, as I said. And you've got a team that's Georgia Southern Eagles that are 6-7. They're playing the game at Georgia Southern, and I just don't see any way in the world, unless Georgia Southern just absolutely beats themselves, that Troy is going to overcome them in this game this week. Again, the Georgia Southern has just been an outstanding team that's played really good football this year. Their losses that they've had have been against Division I teams that are top 20 ranked. They've lost to Boise State. They've lost to Ole Miss, which, if you'll remember this past weekend, Ole Miss won again and are doing really well in the SEC. And they lost to Old Dominion, and hopefully they're going to take a loss to Georgia Southern this week too. But I would love to see Georgia Southern get upset, because that would definitely help us in the SBC East standing, since they are number 2 in the standing right now. So I'm picking Georgia Southern as a winner in a very close game with a lot of hard play, 28-21. I want to thank everybody at Greenville Sports Media for allowing us to do this every weekend, for allowing us to be a part of their weekend Saturday show, their game day show. And just want to thank all of our sponsors out there as well. The Tillery's podcast can be seen every week on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, as well as our 2 channels on X. And we'll be bringing those live updates to you both on YouTube this weekend from Marshall, as well as updates on X on both our Teal Roost channel and both our at Sideline Sports Coastal Carolina as well. And we'll be bringing you the best news that we possibly can, and hope you it's a W. Everybody have a great and safe weekend, and go Shots.
Thanks again to our good friend of the program again, Mr. Aries Curry over at Catch This Sport. So again, another fantastic episode brought to us by John Byer as well over in the Sunbelt. He gave us some really good news from over there. Thanks again for all of his great information as well. And now, Jay, it is time for our good friend of the show, Mr. Nathan Urbach, with over at the Sports Illustrated, and he writes for the Notre Dame for them as well. So we are going to get his takes this week on the Virginia game as well. That segment for you is going to be brought to you by Vero Fencing. So we appreciate Nathan for joining on. And Nathan, let's just go ahead and get your take on what you think about what's going to happen in the Virginia game this week. Welcome back again to the show. We got, again, our guy, our Notre Dame guy, our guru. He is going to be bringing us some good stuff again this week from the week that was against the Florida State Seminoles. Also going to give us some good info about the upcoming game against the Virginia Cavaliers as well. So as we can all tell, the weather is changing, Nathan. So we all got to get ready for this upcoming playoff atmosphere. So
yeah,
get us going. Tell us what was going on from last week and what your thoughts were from last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it on the pregame show. I obviously was a little generous with the points that I was giving Florida State. And honestly, if you watch it, for those that watch the game, Florida State had some success offensively in between the 20s, but they drives would stall, or they'd make a stupid mistake or something like that, and they weren't able to put up a lot of points. So it was probably a closer game than 52-3, but it also showed that just how bad that team right now is. The culture around it, maybe the coaching, players have kind of, the players just don't care as much anymore. So it was one of those weird games where the talent was evident, but then the everything else around the program is also evident as well. So Notre Dame obviously took advantage, right? But hopefully that continues this week against Virginia and moving forward against Army and USC to close out the season.
That'll be good, man. So, I mean, obviously, we were definitely joking around about giving Florida State negative points last week if we could. I think Clemsoning has maybe turned into Seminoling at this point. So we're going to try to see, can they get it done against Charleston Southern? We don't know. But another good win for Notre Dame, though. Another push towards the playoffs. So it's good to see them in the rankings as well, getting their love this week. So tell us about what your thoughts are about, the upcoming game against UVA as well. What are you looking at as kind of like your prime keys to what's going to be needed from Notre Dame to get this one done?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously Virginia's coming off a good win against Pittsburgh. I mean, I know Pittsburgh didn't have Eli Holstein for a lot of that game due to like the targeting or whatever that happened, and
Mm-hmm.
he was out. So um,
Yep.
I think that game was somewhat of a mirage for Virginia because they were able to sort of get Pittsburgh at a different level than what they're expected or what they're
Mm-hmm.
used to. Um, you look at the
Mm-hmm.
previous games before that, they were getting murdered by UNC and Clemson. I don't think those offenses or
Yep.
defenses are as good as Notre Dame's right now. So I expect the game to be a little bit more similar to those, where maybe it's a slow start here and there.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that Notre Dame kind of has in their favor right now is specifically under Marcus Freeman and over the last probably 5 years overall. Notre Dame has crushed it on Senior Day, and I know that's not always the case because
Mm-hmm.
seniors are emotional, the team's
Yeah.
emotional, all that kind of stuff. But if you look at the last, you look at the last like 4 or 5 seasons, I think Notre Dame has only surrendered like 48 points on Senior Day, and they've scored like upwards closer to 200 or upwards closer to like 300 points or something
Good.
like that. So. Um, they
Oh, wow.
somehow have the magic formula on on Senior Day, and I expect that to be the case this
Yeah, it
weekend as
sounds like
well.
it.
Yeah, and I expect that to be the case. I mean, the other thing with Virginia, I think they gave up like 10 sacks to UNC, and they gave up like 7 or
Mm-hmm.
something like that to Clemson. So clearly, there's something there when they play a good defense. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to give up some sacks. Now, the one thing working in Virginia's favor a little bit is that Howard Cross, Notre Dame's best interior defensive lineman, is going to be out for the game with an ankle injury. From what I've
Okay.
been told, that's more precautionary for Notre Dame. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
definitely something there. I mean, it's a significant high ankle sprain, but if it was like a playoff game or something like that, he'd probably be on the field, and they're trying to get him
Yeah.
rested up until at least USC, hopefully, where he might be more
Mm-hmm.
needed. But at the same time, 10 sacks, 7 sacks. Notre Dame has the second best pass efficiency defense in the country, so they're probably going to have some coverage sacks in there as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to predict 10 sacks or 7
Yeah,
sacks in the game, so I don't know if I'd go that far. But I certainly think
for
Notre Dame's going to be able to get to the
sure.
quarterback a couple times and probably make it hard on him and get there 4 or 5 times at least.
I think so too. So we'll definitely has got a good styling to at least play with a little bit of, but I still think Notre Dame can get that done for y'all this week. So hopefully it'll be another good one for y'all. It's another opportunity for y'all to get the juices flowing and get the rankings juiced up again for this week. So ultimately we'll see how things go. So I'm really excited for you guys. Obviously, we're coming down to the last couple weeks, so it's time to start getting really ready. So, um, is there any other thing that you really think? I mean, obviously, Virginia's playing a little bit better than they have the last couple weeks, but is there any keys that you want to kind of make sure that you're keeping an eye out for? Something that you definitely want to make sure that Notre Dame does this week in order to make sure they win this week.
Yeah, so this is a different defense than they've played over the last probably several weeks. I think we mentioned this on a couple of our other preview shows where a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
defenses that Notre Dame's been playing recently have been really good at stopping the run first. And then,
Mm-hmm.
and so Notre Dame's been able to take advantage essentially because their rushing attack has still been effective. And then Riley Leonard's able to throw the football. I think
Sure.
Virginia is kind of the opposite, where they're better against the pass. They have a really, really dynamic safety, who's one of the best in the
Mm-hmm.
country, and so this will be interesting. Now, with that said, is if you can't stop the run, then you're not going to stop Notre Dame because they're gonna play to their strength, and
Yeah.
they're going to run Jeremiah Love, they're going to run Jadarian Price, they're going to run Riley Leonard. So there might be some instances in there where Riley Leonard's not able to throw as effectively as he has been the last 5, 6, 7 weeks. maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I think the offense is humming enough to where that won't be that much of a factor. And again, if they're able to just run at will, which I think that they're going to be able to do pretty effectively tomorrow, then
Mm-hmm.
then that's going to just open up the passing game even more. So that's probably the biggest one. And I obviously mentioned like the sacks and the different things like that Virginia's been giving up. If they're able to somehow contain Notre Dame on with their
Mm-hmm.
offensive line at all, then obviously you're going to have a much better chance at
Mm-hmm.
at keeping that game close overall. But in general, like right now, and I hate to say it from like a standpoint of like obviously Notre Dame has to win these last 3 games because of the one
Right.
loss they have on their schedule right now. But they're also looking at style points. I mean, personally,
Yeah.
I think if they go out and win the next 3, they're probably set up pretty nicely to host a
Mm-hmm.
playoff game in South Bend. Just with the way things are kind of shaking up, they came in at number
Yep.
8. I don't really see them dropping if they play well. But
Mm-hmm.
style points never hurt. I mean, since the NIU game, they're definitely one of the best offenses in the country. They've stayed a
Yep.
really good defense throughout the entire season. But if they can go out there and dominate Virginia, and then go out there and also do really, really well against a ranked Army team and then a USC
Mm-hmm.
team who the computers and all that kind of stuff like more than their record, plus it being
Yep.
a rivalry game and in Southern California. If they're able to win all 3 of those games, kind of like I guess what you would say decisively,
Mm-hmm.
see no reason why Notre Dame can't be the 5, 6, or 7 seed or the 8 seed or whatever and end up hosting
Sure.
their first playoff game. And then, from there, obviously all bets are off.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your insight on it. You know it's that time for you. We got to get your predictions as well for the upcoming game, and then we're going to let you enjoy some football this weekend.
Yeah, I got I put in my what's it called? I put in my prediction for SI earlier today. I think that just came up on SI this morning, but I had 42-17 Notre Dame.
Okay.
Again, I think it's going to be one of those games that is won pretty comfortably by early second half. I mean, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like the Florida State game where I think it was like 14-3, and then Notre Dame all of a sudden went up 21-3 right before half.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something similar to that where they're able to, Virginia's able to hang around up until late in the second quarter or early in the third
Mm-hmm.
quarter. But I think that we're going to see some Steve Angeli in the fourth. We're going to see some backups in the fourth, and Notre Dame ends up winning pretty decisively, 42-17.
That sounds pretty much right up my alley. I was going to go like 38-17 this week. So I think you and I are pretty much on the same board. You just were hoping that Notre Dame could possibly play Florida State every single week from here on out. Is what you have
Yeah,
to
exactly.
But yeah, it's been a good season, man. It's going so fast, but we appreciate you joining on and talking Notre Dame football with us. So I know
Absolutely.
you got a lot going on, but enjoy the weekend. Enjoy that really good hoops team that y'all got going on too. We're gonna get you on to talk a little Notre Dame hoops down the road too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
big one
appreciate.
tomorrow against Georgetown, hopefully. So hopefully they're able
Yeah.
to kind of get that rolling, and then they're in that Players Era Festival coming up here soon. So
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it, man. We're gonna still enjoy football while we can still enjoy football, and then we'll get into basketball when we can get into basketball. So it should be another
Yeah,
fun
absolutely.
season. So well, take care, man. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Irish. Hopefully we'll be talking again next week about another win. So
Absolutely. Thanks, Justin.
yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for joining. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much, Nathan, for joining the show. We appreciate all that great information for you. I know you're excited about your Fighting Irish going down and taking on Virginia this week. So, Jay, it is that time, though, for us to do our picks of the week. We always know those picks are brought to you by our good friends over at the Point RV at Lake Hartwell. Make sure you go check out the Point RV at Lake Hartwell. Tons of things recreational wise for you. Tons of things for you guys to do as a family and to get your things done for your self as well. So, Jay, let's go ahead and knock some of these out, man. We got a ton to get through, a really good slate of college football again this week. So super excited about that. But we're going to do our first one is going to be the Kansas Jayhawks taking on BYU. BYU snuck one out last week against Utah. So who are you going to take in that one? You think they continue their college football playoff run, or can the Jayhawks get it done?
Kansas is a team that's on the rise. I mean, I didn't realize just how many. I mean, I did pick them last week, but I tell you what, this week, give me Kansas in an upset over BYU, ending BYU's chances to be the top 4 in the college CFP playoffs.
Yeah, that would throw a big wrench, for sure. The Big 12 is already kind of in a little bit of a pinch as well because, you got too many scenarios where Colorado's still in, BYU's still in. So I really, really don't mind that pick at all. I mean, Kansas is obviously playing much better football as well. But I know a certain person who would be absolutely tracking me down if I did not continue to take BYU. So I'm going to take BYU again. I think they get the job done. I don't know though that they're going to be good enough to get the Big 12 title though. I think they are good though. Good enough to get it done this week, especially with them being at home as well. So, but I do like the pick. Like I said, I like the pick for you, Jay, because like I said, I think you got some good insight on that one. So next up, though, we are going to be taking out our things down to my neck of the woods, Wake and UNC. So two teams kind of middle of the road in the conference looking towards trying to get bowl eligible. So you taking the Demon Deacons or you going to be taking the Tar Heels at home, Jay?
Give me Wake.
Wake Forest to get the job done. So that would make them bowl eligible as well. So I like the Demon Deacons as well. I like them at home this week as well to get the job done. UNC's defense definitely very improved, but I do think Wake's offense is going to be too much for the Tar Heels. So give me Wake as well. And then we got your neck of the woods now. We're going to take you to Citadel and Wofford. So do the Terriers get it done or is Citadel still right there for you, Jay? Which one are you going to be taking this week?
Give me Wofford.
He likes the Terriers. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take Citadel this week. I'm going to go against the grain. I know Wofford's at home, but I'm going to take them this week. Citadel watched their basketball team this week, so they got to win. So I'm just going to continue to see if I can ride the Citadel wave this week. And then we got South Florida and UNCC next. So, Jay, are you going to take the Charlotte 49ers or the Bulls?
Give me the Bulls. Give me the Bulls.
I like that pick too, Jay. Ultimately, UNCC is definitely playing a little bit better, but I do like USF there in that matchup as well. And then we're going to be going with Hawaii and USU this week. So, Jay, who are you taking that one? That one's an interesting one as well.
Give me Hawaii.
I like the Rainbows too. They're playing better football too, so I really have always liked them ever since Cole Brennan was there. So give me Hawaii as well this week as well. So another huge one though. This one's probably my favorite of the week. We're heading to the SEC, going Tennessee and the Dogs. So does Tennessee continue to roll, or does Georgia get it done at home against Tennessee?
Give me Tennessee. Georgia is in a mess right now. They can't pull their quarterback because of NIL money. So give me Tennessee in this win.
I'm going the other way, and the only reason I'm going the other way this week is because Nico is out this week for Tennessee. So I know the Tennessee defense is really what's carrying them right now, but I still do think Nico does a good enough job at managing the football game for them. So, I mean, I think he does a good enough job not turning the football over. So I think that helps Tennessee. But I'm going to take Georgia to rebound for this week and maintain that crazy SEC again, because that's just going to throw another wrench. So, next up, Jado, we're heading to the Washington State and New Mexico game, though. So, who are you going to be taking that?
Give me Washington State over New Mexico, even though New Mexico's been playing a lot better.
I could definitely see that too. I definitely like Wazoo as well this week. I think Washington State is going to be able to get the job done. I do like your take on that though. I know they've been playing a little bit better, but I still do like Washington State over the Lobos this week. And then this one's kind of both of our next of the woods. We got James Madison and Old Dominion this week. So do the Dukes get it done, or is ODU ready to take them out?
Give me James Madison.
I like James Madison too. So I really think that they're going to be a really good football team. I think they can continue to grow that program and grow that area too. So I do like James Madison again this week against ODU as well. So that one's going to be across the board. Next up, we got Montana State and North Dakota State. So this one's out west. So Jay, you going to be taking the group up in Montana, or are you taking the ones from North Dakota?
Give me Montana.
I'm going to say I like that. I'm going to take North Dakota State though at home this week. So give me them to continue to play good football there, and I think they get the job done there at home. So looking forward to that game though. Actually, that one's a really good one. So looking forward to that one. But then we got another huge one there in the SEC. This one's going to be LSU and Florida. LSU coming off a really tough loss at home to Bama. So DJ Lagway still not confirmed for this week. So I'm going to let you make your picks based on that, Jay.
LSU wins this game and out of frustration from their Bama loss.
I think this one really depends on whether or not DJ Lagway plays or not. I mean, at this point, he's obviously been practicing yesterday. That was the news that came out. So we still don't know if he's going to play, but I do like LSU in a revenge game down there in the swamp. So heading over with the Big Ten, though, we're heading to Oregon and Wisconsin. This one's a really tight one. This one's in Wisconsin, Jay. So are you going to be taking the Badgers, or are you going with the Ducks?
Give me the Ducks.
I like them too. I think they're playing really good. Obviously heading towards a possible Big Ten championship, I'll say. So yeah, I like the Ducks again this week as well. And then I know this one's going to be a game that you're going to be keeping a close eye on, Jay. There's a Clemson fan. So BC and SMU in Dallas. Does SMU continue to roll, or does BC get the job done?
I want BC to win for obvious reasons, but at the same time, I got enough sense to know that SMU is the better team. But I'd love to see BCU in an upset, but give me SMU.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to ride with the Mustangs. I've been riding with them all season. Rhett Lashley is an incredibly great coach. He's done a fantastic job there at SMU. So give me them this week. Even though BC is playing much better, they have moved on from Castellanos at quarterback. So I will like them. But again, this week, Jay, I know this one, obviously, you're going to be keeping key intentions on as we look forward to our TGFF game of the week. It's going to be Clemson. So we're going to take you guys and get your thoughts on the Clemson game as well. So as we go, Clemson Pitt. So who are you taking this week?
Obvious reasons. I think Pitt. I was hoping this game would be a lot more meaningful. I mean, it is for Clemson, but Pitt's lost some of its steam. I think Clemson takes this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by no means because it is at Pitt. So give me Clemson this week by 7.
I could easily see this game being a lot like the Virginia Tech game last week. I think it can be close, but I do still like the Tigers to get the job done this week as well. I think they will continue to show us that they were still one of the best teams in the ACC. So I think Clemson is a really good football team. So I think they get that job done. But Jay, you know what we're going to be heading towards next. I don't really understand what he's going to be picking, who he's picking, where he's at. We all know our good friend of the program, Uncle Bobby's got to get his pick in for the week. So we're going to let Bobby take it away. And that was also going to be brought to you by our good friends over at the Clemson Wine Bar. So let's get Bobby's take, and we'll see if we can get this one wrapped up.
Hey everybody, it's your old pal Uncle Bobby, and I'm here to give you this week's TGFF Game Day guest picker. That's right, me Uncle Bobby. I'm gonna be the guest picker. So here we go. Kansas, and versus BYU. Give me Kansas in an upset. Wake Forest UNC. Well, you know what? Mac Brown's on his retirement tour, so give me Wake Forest, because I think Dave Clawson's got him. Wofford and Citadel. Well, you know what? I love the Citadel, the men of the service, but you know what? You're taking into terror land, and Wofford's gonna get you. USF and Charlotte. Oh, Charlotte. Give me Charlotte in an upset. Hawaii versus USU. I always wanted to go to Hawaii, so why not go for them? Hawaii in the win. Tennessee versus Georgia. The Bulldogs versus the Volunteers. Well, both of them got dogs as mascots, so you know either way I'm going to lose on this one. So give me Tennessee over UGA. Washington State over New Mexico. Give me New Mexico in the upset. JMU, ODU. Well, you know what? Give me ODU in this one. Montana State, North Dakota State. Hey, North Dakota State, I'm gonna pick you this week. Yeah, I still love Furman. Anyway, LSU in Florida. DJ Lagway, my guy that never came to Clemson. Oh man, I wish he would play, but you know what? I don't think it's smart to do it. But anyway, give me LSU over Florida. Oregon, Wisconsin. Oregon is gonna destroy Wisconsin. BC, SMU, the ponies. Give me BC in an upset so that way my Tigers get in the ACC championship game. Hey, Clemson versus Pittsburgh. Clemson over Pittsburgh this week, and that's my game of the week. Go Tigers!
As usual, Uncle Bobby. All I gotta say. I guess he decided to be the guest picker this week. Anyway, we want to thank everybody at Clemson Wine Bar for bringing us Uncle Bobby, or at least giving him several adult beverages, as he would say. And we want to thank NFM Lending. We also want to thank Ardensburg Grill in Central South Carolina. We want to thank Pepsi Cola, Cowboy Revolution, Victory, True Victory. We want to thank Hyundai of Anderson, of course, our major sponsor. HOA 24 is the code. Use that and save lots of money on your new or used car at Hyundai of Anderson. See Herschel and all his friends up there at Hyundai of Anderson. And we want to thank all of our sponsors, Vero Fencing, you name it. Our major sponsor, of course, is GreenvilleSportsMedia.com, letting us be on the site. And make sure you go to GreenvilleSportsMedia.com each and every day to get all your news and notes, because we got it everywhere. It's on GreenvilleSportsMedia.com. Of course, I want to thank the host, Mr. Justin Grice, for bringing us on here each and every week. And we want to thank all of you for watching our show. That's right, your show, TGFF Game Day.
Let's get it, Jay. Another great week. So y'all have a great week. Enjoy the slate, and we will see you guys again next week.
TGFF, back up for football. Game day. 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 You have tuned in to another episode of Thank God for Football, brought to you by the Fanboys, powered by Greenville Sports Media.